Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the second day of spring here in the Boston office of Carlson. We've got a couple inches of snow, so hopefully wherever you are, it's a lot warmer than where I am right now. So thanks for joining us for the Civil Suite Road Design to Survey Stakeout. We're here with Tom Peak, who is a Carlson Regional Sales Manager of Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan. And if you have questions during the webinar, please type them into the questions box on your webinar toolbar, and please try to get those in earlier rather than later, because we do run out of time at the end. And as always, this YouTube recording will be up on our YouTube channel after the webinar, and you'll be getting an email shortly after this is ended. So without further ado, let's turn it over to Tom.
Hello everyone, how you doing? My name's Tom and I'm going to be taking it from here. Today I'm going to try to show you in 30 minutes. I'm going to show you, but 30 minutes is kind of short, but I'm going to show you how to design a simple road with some subgrade to it, and we're going to design that and we're going to end up bringing it into our Serve PC, which is our data collection software for tablets, anything running full Windows. And do some stakeout in a couple different formats. So to begin, what we have to do is we're going to start with a clean drawing here, and we're going to bring in the existing topo. We're going to get started at that point. So I'm working today in Civil 2016. I'm using IntelliCAD, and we're going to go in points, set our coordinate file, and we'll use this existing topo here. And now we have our coordinate file set. We can see what we have set up here. We're going to actually draw the points on the screen. And we're going to just draw all of them. Make sure when you draw your points on your screen, if you want to do any 3D work, that you have Locate Real Z axis on. Hit Draw All. And all our points appear on the screen. So the next thing we're going to do is we have to, the reason we're doing this, we need to have an existing surface file. We need that existing surface file to blend the road in or tie the road into. We're just going to kind of build it as we go. So the first thing I've got to do is contour and triangulate this site. So I'm going to go to Draw Shrink Wrap Entities, and I'm going to we'll call this this layer Limits of Topo. And we're going to write a new layer there. And we'll just do a 2D polyline, and we're going to window around it. And the reason I do this is it gives us a clean triangulation and contour. Otherwise, you have triangulation lines that pass by points, and you have contours that draw out to them, and of course they're erroneous. So we don't want to use those. So now that I have my points drawn, my perimeter or my inclusion perimeter for my topo, I'm going to go under Surface here, and I'm going to go Triangulate and Contour. And we'll walk quickly through these screens. We'll go ahead and draw the triangulation lines, and we'll draw faces. And we have to write out a triangulation file. That's our whole process, the whole reason we're doing this. So we're going to select that, and we're going to write a triangulation file, and we'll just call it existing or existing is fine. And we'll hit save. So now we're going to write out a triangulation file. We're going to need this when we go into RoadNet. I'm going to use inclusion, exclusion parameters. I'll leave all this be. Go to contour. We're going to draw contours. We'll do 1 foot contour intervals, 5 foot index. Put a little smooth to it. 6 is pretty good. And labels, we'll label every, we'll only do index contours. Otherwise it gets a little bit too busy. And we'll do it every 300 feet. We'll index it, or we'll contour every index feet, and we're 300 feet, and we're only going to do index contours. So okay, it asked me for my inclusion area. I'm going to pick my inclusion. I don't have an exclusion, but if I had a big plant or something, a building that I didn't want to run contours through, I could exclude it. I don't have that, so I'm going to hit enter, and then it asked me what I want to use for my points, my triangulation file. So I'm just going to window the entire job and hit OK. And we come up with, we've got our triangulation network there, our T-lines, and we have contours. And I always like to turn things, even though you would see a big spike, you would see it in your contours. I just like to turn things 3D, and I like to look at them. I'm kind of like that. And as we turn this three-dimensional, it's kind of a flat site. So let me exaggerate that vertical scale a little bit so we can get a little relief in it. And I can look under it and over it, and I can make sure that what I've contoured is nice. I don't have any real problem areas. So I'm ready to exit there. Now that we have a surface, and that's what we were after the whole time, we need to know where we're putting a road. Now you can get this from a number of different ways. Most people that are staking roads or the surveyors in charge of laying them out are going to take it off plans. And if you want to do that, you can come into Centerline and input edit Centerline, and you can actually add elements, lines, spirals, and curves and things like that. And you can build your alignment here if you want to. What we're trying to get out of this is a .cl file, Centerline file. Today we're going to do the fun way, and we're just going to draw where we want to put a road. So I'm going to go to draw here and draw a 2D polyline, and we'll make it a layer, and we'll call it Centerline, we'll just call it CL, Centerline main. How's that? And we'll set it as yellow, and we'll hit OK. And let's just pick alignment. We'll start down here, and we'll run up towards this this hillside or these hills, and we'll put an arc in it, and we'll run that arc over here, and then we'll put a tangent in it, and we'll run that tangent about right there, and then we'll put another arc in it, and we'll come up to the end here. Okay, so now we have a polyline that represents what our centerline alignment is going to be. The next thing I like to do, because I like to bring it into, when I bring it into ServPC, I like to see, or ServCE. ServCE is our Windows Mobile software for data collection and Stakeout, and ServPC, as I said earlier, was for the Windows units. I like to station the polyline, and let's go ahead and do that. That way we can bring it in into our data collector. So I'm going to Centerline, station Centerline. There's all kinds of things you can do in here. How often you want your stationing, and how often you want it on a curve, what you want for intermediate stationing, and I'll just start the road at 0 plus 0. We don't use pluses. I'll do even stations, and we'll go ahead and locate odd stations so we'll know our PCs and PTs, and we'll label our station, text, and let's go to our label setup. This is how you set your label up. We're going to go perpendicular with our labels, and we're going to go on the center line, or lined off center. Hit OK. Now, if you want to do, just to let you know, if you want to do offsets here, if you've got a 3D polyline that represents your center line, or a profile, here's your 3D polyline, you can use that and do, your offsets here and carry your grade down. So you could do all that in this station polyline centerline command. Right now, all we want is text, so I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to window in here, and I'm going to pick my center line, and it stations it from 0 plus 0, 0 to about, let's see what we're up here, to about 2100, to 21 plus 0, 0. So we're done with this portion. You can get, for instance, if you got a DWG that already had alignments on it, you could go to Centerline, and you could do a polyline to a Centerline file, so you could actually pick it right off the screen. We're going to pick it in RoadNet, so we're going to go over there and do it. But I can set a Centerline file right here based on that polyline. I can design a Centerline on the screen, or I can do input edit Centerline file. Okay, now we need to save a drawing that we want to bring into ServPC. So I'm going to go ahead and freeze some layers. So if I come over to View, and I don't have my icon set up here, but if I freeze layer by selection, and I window in, there's some things I really don't need to see. I don't need to see the existing points of the tri-mesh or the contours anymore. So I'm just going to cross over those, and I'm going to freeze those. They're still there, but I don't need to see them. Okay. Now let's go into RoadNet. RoadNet I find to be pretty fun. Of course, there can be some tedious things, but for the most part, RoadNet, underneath the road dropdown. And we're going to walk through these. We're going to walk through most of these, but let's go into settings first, and let's talk about settings. This is where it all happens. So we need to know our existing surface. And the existing surface, if I choose it, it was the existing 10 that we wrote just a few minutes ago. So I'm going to pick that. And if you had rock surface, you could bring that in as well. And how often am I, when I process my road file or my road net, how often am I going to build triangles? My triangle, it's really triangle-able. So I'm going to do it 25 foot on the main and 25 foot. I don't have any intersections, but I'm going to do it 25 both. Tied existing, if I had intersections, process them and connect roads. Output files. So I want to triangulate and contour my new road, my proposed road. So I'm going to come into setup, and I'm just going to look through here, and I'm going to draw triangulation faces. And I'm not going to set this file here. I'm going to set it somewhere else. Contour. I'm going to go ahead and contour just about like we did. Let's change these contour and roll down a little bit. And we're going to contour it, and we can label. I guess we'll label it, and we'll label index contours only again, and we'll do it every 200 feet. You can also do X amount of labels per contour as well. So I'm going to do 200 filters, and I'm going to hit OK. And it says, right, you got to pick a triangulation file. So I'm going to come back. I was mistaken on that. And I'm going to set a triangulation file and call it road FG, and hit OK or save. And I'm going to hit OK here. And now I've got this set up. The key thing I'm trying to get out of here is I want to get this serve.ce stakeout file. Now serve.ce/serve.pc stakeout file is what it is. So I'm going to hit set here, and I'm going to set in my folder, I'm going to set road, I'll call it road FG, and we're going to build a file. It's an RNF file, road network file, and that is going to encompass everything that we're doing in design into a nice tidy file that we're going to open up right inside of a Surf PC and use it. So I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to let everything else here be. There's all kinds of different little settings, but I'm going to let that go. Report options, I'm going to use, for you that care about materials and volumes, I'm going to use a report formatter, and I'm going to report end areas and cumulative cut fill. Display options, not really going to worry about that, and transitions, not going to, we don't have any, so we're going to be in good shape there. Okay, that's settings. We're going to add, we hit this plus sign, we're going to add, and we're going to add, it asks me, what do you want to add? I'm going to say a road, and it says, how do you want to add a road? What is your centerline? And I'm going to screen pick the polyline. Now, I could have written that centerline file back in my original setup there, and I could have just grabbed it, but I'm going to screen pick it. And it tells me to pick the polyline, and it says, what do you want to associate with a polyline? And I'm going to do it. I'm going to put a centerline file with this polyline, and I'm going to call it. I'll call it main.cl file. So I'm going to hit OK. It automatically writes out a new profile for me with the same name as the centerline. However, if you had a profile, and there's a number of different ways that you can get profiles into the software, but I'm going to go ahead and just let it write a profile for me and hit OK or open. Now let's look at this. In the first screen, or in the beginning of this, I showed you how to you could edit a centerline file. We screen picked a polyline and put it in a centerline file. So if I hit edit here, I can actually see the same screen that I would have seen. First element is a tangent, arc, tangent, arc. So this is the same screen that you would see back in the other format or in the other software, or the beginning screens that we were showing. So I like it. I'm just going to save and exit. Now let's look at the profile. Profile is going to look pretty boring, and it's, mind you, it's exaggerated, so it kind of looks odd. It gave me a straight line profile from the beginning of my center line to my end of my center line. You can get these profiles from a number of different places, like I said. Let's just put one PVI in here. Let's go to this plus sign and add a PVI and bring it. We want a little bit of cut and fill so we can see what we're doing. You know, kind of see some relief in the roadway. So let's pick a spot there and put a PVI. We can move that PVI with this little pencil if we want to, and we'll put a little cut and fill in there. And let's come down to here and put a vertical curve in it. So that being 1,000, that being 500, we'll put about 1,000-foot vertical. We'll put 1,000-foot vertical curve in it. That's a good number. And there's our vertical curve that comes in. So that's our proposed centerline now, or proposed grade, centerline grade. So let's save that and exit. Now we need one other thing. We say we need required input files. We need these 3 files. Now then the world's the limit after that, including road stripes. We've got to build a template. So let's go to template, and let's call this it's a new. Let's go to new template, and let's overwrite. I don't want to use this one. Let's go back over and browse, and let's go up to our folder that I'm in, or should have been in, Carlson Projects 01, and let's call this main, and it's going to write out a TPL file. So main TPL. Hit open, and we're open and save it. Now if I go to edit, we go into the template screens. It's asking me right now, things have changed. Do you want to run process your road network? I'm not ready yet, so I'm going to hit no. So let's just build a little typical roadway, nothing major. Let's go grades first, and let's go a percent of grade, and let's build the pavement. So let's go down at a -2% cross slope, and let's go out a horizontal distance. We do a fine job at parabolics. I used those last Friday, and on demonstration I was giving, a great job. It really works well. Let's go a -2% at 12 feet, and let's give it an ID of EP for edge of pavement. And hit OK. So we've got our pavement. This is centerline. We're going 2%, 2%. Let's go to grades again. Let's go down a -4% slope, and let's go a distance of 8 feet for shoulders, and let's call that shoulder. Okay. Let's put in another grade, and let's go down. Let's go to a ratio now. Let's go a -6 to 1, and let's go out 12 feet, and let's call this recovery. For recovery zone, you can call it whatever you want. I just use that as an example. Hit OK. So we have our 12-foot center line, or 12-foot pavement, 2%. 8-foot shoulder, 4%, 6% down as a recovery zone. Now let's build a cut. By the way, if you get these out of whack for any order, you can move things up and down. So if I move these down, I can move all these elements of this template back anywhere I want to. So I can get all kind of crazy, which I just did. Let's move this back up, and let's move the shoulder back up, and there we are. We're back on track. So you can move these things around any way you'd like. Let's build a cut, and we're going to display the fill on the left and the cut on the right. That has nothing to do with if your template needs a cut or a fill that we're building on left or right. It'll use it. This is for display purposes. And so let's do a cut first. Let's go cut. We're going to do a ratio, and we're going to treat the right side the same as the left. Now, of course, if you need a left cut and a right cut or different cuts, or different fills, you can do that, and you have so many options in here what to do. We're just going to do a simple one. We're going to treat the right side the same as the left. So let's go down at a 4 to 1, and we're using ratio here, and let's go a depth of I don't know, 6 feet, and then let's add a ditch. Let's add a flat bottom ditch. So we'll use percent. It doesn't like ratio at 0, of course, so use percent at 0. And we'll call it 5 feet wide, and we'll call this a ditch. We'll just add that so we'll have something nice to look at. And hit OK. And let's hit OK here. And there's our cut. There's our 4 to 1 cut with a 5-foot flat bottom. Now let's build a fill. So we'll go fill. And let's do the same thing. Let's go, or the same percent slope. Let's go 4%. And this one, since I'm tying in, I can make it anything. I'll make it 5 feet. 5-foot depth. It's going to tie no matter what. Ratio right side the same as left. Hit OK, and we have our our finished grade built. Let's add some subgrade. We're going to get section files out of this, and we're not only going to get finished grade section files, we're going to get subgrade section files if you'd like to stake those instead of finished grade, or you want to toggle back and forth. So I'm going to hit subgrade here, And I'm going to match the surface. There's all kinds of different ways to do it, but I'm going to match the surface. I'm going to take my directions as I'm building my subgrade out from the center line. I'm going to intersect my surfaces straight up, but there's other options. Horizontal offset, I'm going to start at the center line. So I'm at 0 horizontal offset. Let's go down 30, oh, number locks aren't on. Let's go down half a foot so we can see it. Number locks still aren't on. There we go. And you can use inches here. I'm going to use feet. And let's go out 12 feet for the width of the pavement. And then so we can see our material here real quick. Let's just call it bit. Something simple, bit. And hit OK. And now let me window in. It's kind of hard to move around in here. And there is our, let me move it over just a little bit if I can. There we go. There's our bit. Let's put another subgrade in. And we're always starting, we start at 0 at the center line again, and our vertical offsets always start going back to the profile. So I'm at half a foot. Let's go a foot deep, and let's call it 12 feet out for the edge of pavement, and let's call this just sand. Hit OK. Let's put another subgrade in, and now let's go down 1.75 feet, 1 foot 9 inches, and let's go out, start at 0 at the center line. Let's go down 1.75, and let's go out a distance of 12 feet, and let's call this ag, and hit OK. So we have a roadway built. Now let's just add some shoulder stone. Let's go subgrade one more time. Now here I'm going to start out, our EP's out at 12, so I'm going to start at 12, and let's put in 9 inches of, or 10 inches of stone. Let's go out 8 foot, I believe we made our shoulders, and let's call this material shoulder ag, and hit OK. Okay, so if I window out, there's our template. We're going to build sections for those. We're going to get materials from those. So pretty simple template, and you can add sidewalks, you can add medians, you can add curb. Our curb template is really nice. You can we'll get you started here, and you can come in and make your curb dimensions any size you want, and then you save those. You save those into a curb file, .crb file, and you're golden. You have that anytime you want to grab it. So it's a one-time build for each type of template, and make sure you save them, and you can load them next time. You can pull them in and pull your curbs in. We also do a fine job at medians. So there's just a couple things that anything you want to build a template for, we can handle. So let's save this and exit. Now we have our 3 required. There's really 4 required. If you want to, you need that existing surface. So remember, 4th one. It'll tell you, by the way, if I hadn't picked it in options, it would came up and said you don't have an existing surface, and you can just choose it there. Optional output files. We don't have, of course, time for that. We're writing out main existing. So we're writing out an existing surface file, a finished grade surface file, and an existing profile along that existing surface. Okay, let's hit OK here. And now it asks me, do you want to process your road network? And I say yes, I want to do that. And it goes through and it builds our road based on all the information that we put in there. Let me window up a little bit. Very colorful. Now let's. This is definitely one I like to go into View 3D or Window Viewer and window this roadway. And I like to check all this stuff, of course, before having survey background. I'm kind of paranoid about things, so I'm going to go ahead and exaggerate this as well so we can see some relief. And let's window in and look at our road. Now you can even see as I tilt it down, as you get the Z, we can spin. I come up in the screen, I get the X, Y, and I can tilt. So let's spin it around. You can even see the subgrade lines under here. And if I window in a little bit and I spin it, let me get back to spin. We'll go into from cut fill, back into cut, and I think we stay in cut. Let me window down a little bit. We stay in a cut, and we'll spin it one more time, and bring it around, and we stay in the cut the rest of the way out. But we do have at least something nice to look at. Okay, looks pretty good. So let's exit out of here. Excuse me. And let's see here. A couple things I like to see. or we work to put them in there. So let's report some things. Let's report and do a output processing. And you have all different types of reports that you can build in here, and you can customize them. I have one called Roadway, Tom Roadway, and it gives me the station, the interval, the cut and fill, and cubic yards. So and you can export this out to Excel spreadsheets, whatever you'd like to do. But I'm just going to use our simple display report. And now we have a nice report that gives us, it has broken down our cut and fill, cubic yards, total. We have our materials broken down and a cut fill ratio. So this is nice to have. It tells us what we compared and what templates we used and what profile and what Centerline. Reports our stationing, breaks down our subgrades again, and then breaks down average end area at the bottom from beginning to end. Like I say, if you want to bring that into a spreadsheet, you can do it as well. So nice little report there. You can also print it. You can bring it on a screen if you'd like. You could print it out, whatever you'd like. You could save it and edit it later, whatever you'd like to do. So let's exit out of that, and let's exit out of that. Let's look at a section report. This is kind of nice for a layout. If I go to section report here, and I pick our main finished section, and I'll use the row column format layout, and I'll center by offset, based on center offset, and I'll hit OK. And it asks me at the bottom of the screen what stations I'd like to report, and I'm just going to do all of them. This is a nice format for the guys out in the field. You know, centerline, offset, elevation, and slope. It's very basic, but it's really at centerline grade. So this is and stationing over here. This is very nice for just the guys in the field doing stakeout. You can send this out to a Excel sheet, and you can bring this in a lot of different formats that you custom to you. But this is a nice basic stakeout to have in the field if you'd like to have it. Let's exit out of there, and let's do one more thing. Let's drive the sections. I like to do that too, just so I know. This will be our last check. And if I go into input edit section file, I'll pick my main existing, and I'll reference the final section. And I'm going to hit the first one, O plus O, and see what's going on there. And then I'm going to blow this up so you can see it. And then let's drive it. Let's just drive it so we can see that it looks good. We'll go 35 miles an hour. We don't have to drive the entire thing, but as we're going along here, we can see our sections, our existing grade, our final grade, make sure that everything looks good. Okay, let's exit out of that and exit out of this. And we're done except for one thing. We need to save this to a drawing file. So let's go back in and view and freeze this layer by selection, and let's get rid of this. We don't want to see that on our data collector screen. And let's view extents and make it nice, and then file save as. And I save as a DWG10 file, 2010 file. And we'll call it work and write over whatever was there before. Hopefully that's okay. We're done on the office side. Now let's go into the data collector side. So let's minimize this. Let's go into serve PC. We have serve PC and serve CE, as I was saying before. We're going to start a new job. I'm going to run a little over here, but we had a lot to go through. Select new existing job, and let's just call this work, and green check it. Now notice CRD file in our data in our office software is a coordinate file. CRD file in our data collector is the job. So I'm going to green check that, and it asks me for my system. We'll just stay in Ohio South. I have to use a simulator, which is tough, but I'm going to try. And I'll just stay in Ohio South. But if you wanted to set your projection, short list if you've used them before. If you want to add a predefined, we have them all. We have NAD 83. We have a number of different ones, including the not in this display or in this demo version simulator, but we have it in the new Indiana version if you need it. So we're just going to stick with what we got and green check, and we're just going to hit OK here. Now the next thing we need to do is bring in the drawing. So if I hit the map screen here, the globe, and I go over to File, we can bring in DGNs as well, DWGs, DXFs. I'm going to import DWG, And here's our work drawing. So I'm going to green check it, and I'm going to insert text entities, and I'm going to let it bring in our work drawing. Let it do its thing. Done. Okay. Now we have our stationing. We have everything we need here. Let's bring this over a little bit, and we'll window into about. Let's work. Oh, sorry about that. We'll window into about this area right here, so we can have something to look at. So 3 plus 0, 4 plus 0, 5 plus 0. Let's see what we're gonna do next. Next thing I have to do is I have to fake this out, and I have to tell it I'm going to exit out of the screen, and I'm going to tell it I got to set equipment. So I'm in a simulator, GPS simulator. We have, you know our power and driving instruments, but I'm going to use this simulator, and I'm going to green check here, and I have to tell it where my base is setting on here. You use local, and I'm just going to pick a spot, and I'll pick a spot that's handy. Here's our snaps. We have all the snaps that as a CAD program in the office. So I'm going to pick that point there, which is 3D, and I'm going to hit OK, and I'm just going to set up my base in my simulator and go through all these prompts and set my base, set my reference, and I'm good there. Now let me set my rover, and I'm going to be in simulator mode there, but again, all these manufacturers we can run on, or we can drive, and I'm going to green check a simulator mode. And now I'm in simulation mode. So let's go to a simple one. Let's go to survey. Very tab-based and very simple layout. I really like it. Elevation difference. And let's use, now let me go back. Let's slow down a little bit. Survey tab, elevation difference. Now you can use this for, you can just pick an elevation. If you're doing a flat pad, you can use all kinds of different formats. But I like the section file. We've written the sections. We might as well use the sections. So I'm going to use section file, green check, and I'm going to load my Centerline, my main Centerline that we wrote, that we designed, profile. I'm going to pick my main pro, design file. I'm going to pick my final section file. I can also do subgrades and things like that too. So we've got those set, our 3 data files we need. I'm going to green check. And now this triangle represents, and I got to slow it down. I've got to use arrow keys to do this, so it's quite fun. So now, as you notice, I'm at 4 something or another, and down here, this is a very simple format, but this is kind of nice. If you know your offsets to EP, you have station down here, and your offset right and left. Your fill to grade, and now my verticals are going to be off because I faked this out, but it gives you your design section grade. So you have a cut and fill based on your design section grade, the station you're standing at, and your offset. And you can go anywhere out within the catch of this roadway and do staking like in this format. Not as much power as what I'm getting ready to show you, but still great. Remember the section report I showed you. If you have that in your hand and you want to use a simpler format, you know your offsets, you know your station offset, and it gives you your cut and fill. It's a beautiful thing. Now check this this tab up here, plan versus cross section. So I can actually see where I'm standing on the cross section as well. So I can go to each point that I want to set, or I can watch plan mode. Nice power in that one button right there. Nice power. Okay, that's one option. That's one method. So let's exit out of there, and let's do slope stake, or not slope stake. Let's go to road and stake road by section file. And I'm not going to show the slope stake store yet. I'm just going to green check here, and I'm going to go down through my my files. I got Centerline main in there. I need to pick this one, so I'm going to pick this profile and pick our profile we designed and our section. I'm going to add a section, pick our final section, and we're good to go there. I'm going to green check. So now I'm going to tell it, we were somewhere around 4 plus 0, so I'm going to go to 450. Now you can set interval, you can design offsets where you want to go to. You'll pick this up very quickly. Green check. So as I'm over here, and this is the tedious part, I'm walking across the road to 4 plus 50. Now I'm going to speed this up, and this is usually where everything goes, whoa, and I got to do, like I said, I'm using arrow keys to turn this thing, and I'm just going to let it walk in there. I've got to slow it down a little bit, and I'm going to get pretty close. I'm going to go a little faster. And as I get closer, my target will get bigger. Oh, wrong way. I get a little faster, and then panic and slow it down as quick as I possibly can. And let's see. Okay, I'm in my target area. I'm going to go ahead and take that shot. Look at the information we get. It's telling us where we actually put the stake, but what we were headed for, design, and the same thing with our offset and our elevation, actual versus design. And it's going to save this for us. It's going to save this in a store. If I store the point, it's going to save the description of what I was headed for and give us this information. So I green check this, point stored. It prompts me. I had a 50-foot interval. It's prompting me to go up my interval. So that's how I can keep advancing, or I can pick. I can come over here and I can say I don't want to do EP anymore on the left side. I want to come over and pick this hinge point right here, or the edge of shoulder. And it comes up. Notice it gives you your. Remember our IDs when we build our templates. Notice the IDs it gave us. Very nice. So we know exactly what we're picking if we have a very complex shoulder or roadway. So let's exit out of there. Let me show you one more thing, and then we'll take some questions. Let's stake road again, but now let's show the story stake. So if I hit green check here, I'm going to leave everything. Let me make sure I got everything in there. Everything's good. Now let's go to let's stake this catch point over here, and then we'll be done. And here we're at. We're going back, turn this thing back around, and I'm going to head out to catch that, so I can show you how it reports your slope stake information. I remember when Bruce and I met up in Arkansas, Mountainburg, Arkansas, in 1997. I would have gave anything on that big job, highway job we did, to have this power, and we have it now. It's a beautiful thing. We got through it together, but I'd love to have this. So let's slow this down. Let's get close. Let's get on target. There, close enough, and let me hit shot or store. And it gives me all the same information. Now when I green check here, it actually gives me the horizontal distance that I was from my tie, how far I was off my catch, my vertical cut and fill at my catch, and then it gives me my story down to centerline. Pretty nice information to have. You could do a lot of slope staking with this program, and you did all the work in the office, and it just rolled in to Serve PC, and it'll do the same thing in Serve CE. Okay, I think I'm already 8 minutes over. Let's exit out of here and go back to our screen. File exit. Go back to our screen and see what we have going on now. Okay. Are there any questions?
Have one question from Michael, and he asked, do you sometimes aim to balance cut fill on subgrade?
Oh, absolutely, and we have that ability. We can work. We have settings in there that you can not only balance cut fill, but you can import and export what you want to import and export. So yes, you can balance cut fill. We handle that very nicely.
Awesome. That's the only one we have. So if you have any other questions about this webinar, please email them to info@carlsonsw.com. And as a reminder, you can find the recording up on our YouTube page shortly. And we are also running a Civil Suite trade-in promotion. If you want to go check out some details, that's on our website as well. Our next webinar coming up is with Aaron Newman on April 4th back here at noon. And that's Carlson Fundamentals, Point Menu, Tools, and Tips. And you can find a registration link in the email that you'll be receiving after this webinar has ended. So I want to thank Tom for being a panelist today. And Tom, anything else to add?
No, thanks everybody for coming. And if you have any questions, send in your questions to the email address that Lee gave you, or you contact me, whatever you'd like to do, but we'll take care of you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom, and thanks everyone else for watching, and we'll see you in the next webinar.
Take care.